and welcome back to another Warframe video. So, been playing a good amount of Disruption the last couple days in Warframe and been using a pretty strong loadout for it. We've got Sampotes Zephyr today. I'll be showing how you could get some crazy big AOE heavy attacks on the Steel Path with this weapon and frame combination. Basically, with this combo you can take care of multiple floors of enemies in one attack and take out high-level Demolists in one attack too, basically elite enemies. So let's get right into it. But before we do, make sure you sub this channel. We do daily Warframe video uploads, build videos, news videos, discussion videos, all that kind of stuff in our place for Warframe content. And yeah, we will be live with the Game Awards tonight with a potential Warframe 1999 launch. A lot of people are thinking it's a launch tonight. I'm not sure right now, but I wouldn't say no to it. Let's just put it like that. So let's get right into it. Alright, so the Sampotes Hammer and the Zephyr Warframe. Basically, where the Sampotes Hammer comes from, it comes from Zephyr. It's one of those really strong melees from Zephyr that can do some AOE stuff. Specifically with this one, on heavy attacks, you will release shockwaves that travel 40 meters and can do some pretty nasty damage. Now, showing how that works in the Simulacrum and stuff, we're going to be using a... Well, we're currently on an anti-corpus build, but it shouldn't really matter on these Grenier because this thing is so strong. We've got an anti-corpus build. Now, as far as how this thing works, when we do these heavy attacks, you're going to see these shockwaves traveling out. Those are the main feature of the Sampotes. So, before we go and kill these enemies, I'm going to go ahead and do it right here. So, we slam attack. Those orange shockwaves are what the main draw of this weapon is. So, what we could do, we could throw down our tornadoes for Zephyr. We got our tornadoes down with Zephyr, and then we slam attack to release these shockwaves to go through your tornadoes to just basically wreak havoc damage-wise on the enemies. Now, going ahead and showing that in practice here, remember, we have an anti-corpus build on here right now. We are not on anti-Grenier. And they're just dead. I don't even need to use the tornadoes, really. They're just dead with this weapon on this synergy combo, basically. So, yeah, let's go ahead and show you can do this stuff. Now, keep in mind, I can't stress enough, this is not a build meant for these guys at all. You don't even need to have a build, really. We're using the things in the video today because we're just so strong. So, yeah, it looks like something that you could find fun. Let's get right into it. Of course, there are other helmets to make it stronger, but for right now, we have a non-damage buffing helmet with Ensnare, which helps you stun Demolist in place, which helps because they're beeping all the time, like jumping around. Also helps you stun Acolytes in place too, because Acolytes are able to be stunned by Ensnare from Korra. So very good ability, but yeah, you can do a damage buffing one as well. Now, starting off with the Synergy loadout, what we got today, we've got purple Archon Tau Shards, basically violet Archon Tau Shards. On Zephyr, we got 5 of them, and they're all the same effect. They're all gain increased melee critical damage when maximum energy is over 500. The damage boost will double. So you got 641 energy, which means that all these shards give about things like 30, no, it's actually 74% crit damage each. So if we look at the multiplier on our Sampotes, we've got a 17 times crit multiplier, which makes it really good at killing things that we're not even modded for properly, because it's got such a crazy multiplier. If we did throw on Rifle Events Colorvo, we could get this like guaranteed red crits, basically, which would be even more disgusting. As far as the build on Zephyr, our build on Zephyr is focused on basically staying alive and making sure we can cast our abilities consistently. As far as, you know, specific weird stuff you might notice here, we've got the Naira's Anguish mod and the Naira's Hatred mod. These mods give us increased slam attack damage on our weapons. So, for example, when I do a slam attack with my Sampotes, these mods on my frame are actually buffing my melee, funny enough. So, we could use Naira's Hatred, Naira's Anguish, and Arcane Fury all to buff our melee. We've also got Brief Respite. In case our shield does break, we can cast an ability like our 1 to get a little bit of shield back and not die. Thankfully, Zephyr's third ability, Turbulence, blocks most projectiles, but it does not work on melee attacks. So, if we get meleeed twice, we could technically die, but it's not really going to happen that often, especially when we have things like Rolling Guard, which gives us 3 seconds of invincibility whenever we roll. And I don't really roll with Zephyr that often, so we actually get to keep this available most of the time. But yeah, this is basically if you jump into a nullifier bubble. Since this build is kind of being used in Apollo a lot, you do jump into nullifier bubbles quite often, so this does kind of help sometimes. Funnel Clouds distributes our, basically gives us more tornadoes, but the tornadoes cannot grab enemies. This makes it where it's very easy to like basically nuke enemies in your tornadoes as it distributes the damage more across them all, which is pretty nice. It's not needed, but it's pretty fun. Prime Continuity gives us longer duration. All of our abilities scale with duration here. Turbulence lasts longer, Ensnare lasts longer, and propagation delay is reduced. More duration for Tailwind. We do use Tailwind for mobility, and also longer tornadoes as well, which is not that big of a deal, but still pretty decent. Over Anguish. Equilibrium. Every orb we pick up will become a health orb or an energy orb, whatever we need, basically. This could be very helpful with our dog we're showing as well, which will be the digging dog. Stretch to increase range of our abilities. It doesn't really help with the fourth ability that much, but it does help the third. And Ensnare is helped as well by this. So it's not a necessary mod, but it's a decent one for sure. You could definitely replace it with something else if you wanted to. And for the final mod, Prime Flow, gives us over 500 energy so we can get our Archon shards active. We also got Multi-Efficiency for 36% more duration if our shields are active, but they should be active with Brief Respite and Rolling Guard. Now, as far as the rest of the stuff here, for the Sampotes is going to have a Riven on it, but I'm going to show you a no Riven build as well. The main thing here is we're going to be using the Sampotes with melee influence. So since the Sampotes has a 40-meter explosion attack, the melee influence is to make it where it's 20 more meters of AOE as long as we proc melee influence. So on melee electric proc, 20% chance for elemental melee status effects to apply to enemies within 20 meters for 18 seconds. Cannot refresh while active. So if we proc this, we have AoE from melee influence and AoE from the unique trait of these energy waves. So that can be really, really deadly and really massive AoE too. But keep in mind that just like the Siam, their terrain will get in the way of your attacks and potentially block them sometimes. Just be aware of that if you do this, try this thing out. But as far as the build, it is melee influence, so we have electric procs on here, and our electric weighting is pretty good. We got an electric Riven, which if you don't have an electric Riven, first of all, I would say you should get a Riven for this thing because it has pretty decent Riven stats. It's pretty fun. But if you don't have a Riven, you just do this instead. As you can see, our electric weighting is still pretty good, a little bit worse. But the biggest difference here is we actually lose a massive chunk of melee damage. So if you don't have that Riven, you might want to consider not running two electric mods, maybe running Prime Pressure Point instead. Because I did have a Riven on there that was giving us a ton of base damage. But yeah, you could just run that as well and try it out. But yeah, the Riven is so fun that I'd recommend getting one for sure. But as far as everything else on here, we've got Galvanize Elementalist. Since it's a status proc focused build, this will increase the damage of our status procs and give us more status chance. We only have 44% status chance right now. So once we fully stack Galvanize Elementalist, this helps us to get to like 60-ish% or something like that. Galvanized Steel. We don't get a ton of crit chance for this, but we get a ton of crit damage, which is really nice because, yeah, we kill everything so hard with yellow crits. We don't really need that much crit chance anyway. We're using this against Corpus, so Smite Corpus because it's an anti-Corpus mod basically. And Galvanized Reflex, they have infinite 5x spams. Additionally, we got Seismic Wave on here, which gives us even more slam attack damage to make it where we are just really hitting hard. And as far as the Axilus mod, Dispatch Override on heavy attack hit, increased movement speed for 18 seconds. This does work in Zephyr's first ability floating, which is pretty nice. So you basically, here, I'll show you how that works. So we just do a slam attack. So as you can see, the energy waves didn't even appear there. That was a pretty good example of it. Yeah, basically, we do a slam attack, and then we can float around, and we are increased movement speed because of Dispatch Override. If you've never played Zephyr before, if you hold on the first ability of Zephyr, and let go, you can float around like this, basically. Now, you can't do a heavy slam out of this, unfortunately. You have to do a light attack and then heavy slam, but it's still pretty good to, like, get some increased mobility. Like, Zephyr is quite a nice mobile frame. You just basically fly around, chill, wait till the Demolish shows up, then slam attack it. Very nice way to do that. So I'd highly recommend trying out Zephyr with a slam melee. It doesn't have to be this slam melee, but yeah, she's very good at it in general. As far as the companion I brought, it is the Sahasa Kubrow, the dog that digs up orbs. And the big thing here is the dig mod. It will pick up, or basically it will dig up whatever you need. So if you are low on energy, it will dig up energy. If you're low on health, it will dig up health. If you're low on ammo, etc., etc. So this thing can be pretty helpful if you don't really know what to bring with you on any mission. This can basically just instantly fix your energy economy, and that's... My energy economy is not bad on this build, but I wanted to bring it because this thing is actually kind of decent. Only issue with this thing is that it likes to bark a lot, so if you don't like to hear barking dogs, this thing barks a lot in missions. So that can maybe make it a little bit more annoying for you. But yeah, we got, I don't know why I have Enhanced Vitality, if I'm going to be honest with you, but we've got Tenacious Bond to get increased critical damage on our frame and our weapons. It probably is not going to actually be active right now because I've got the route equipped. But yeah, the only thing I really cared about here, guys, was Dig, because it gives us orbs, and then also Resource Retriever to give me more loot. You could definitely change this to be different. Again, I don't think, Tenacious Bond isn't even active right now because our route is so low crit. So keep that in mind, that you could make Tenacious Bond work here, but I don't currently have it active. So that should show how strong this is. No Tenacious Bond active, tons and tons of damage. So that's me basically it for the video, guys. We've got the Game Awards coming up here in a little bit. But I just want to show you how strong Sampotes Zephyr is. It's not the only weapon that Zephyr can utilize. You can use things like the Magistar, you can use things like the Sibir, the list goes on. But those things will not have 40-meter AOE shockwaves with a 20-meter AOE melee influence afterwards. For example, I don't really use melee influence on the Magistar. I use melee influence on other weapons, but the Magistar is mainly exposure, or mainly melee exposure, and then also like, you know, crescendo, things like that. Basically, just not melee influence. Not saying you couldn't use melee influence, but the Magistar has pretty low status at the end of the day. So yeah, hope you guys found this video fun, helpful. It is very strong to use this kind of stuff. Zephyr will be being used in Warframe 1999 as well. So yeah, this might be something to keep on your radar for sure. And yeah, it comes from Deviri too, so Pathos clamps to farm it and all that good stuff. All right, guys, I'm gonna see you on stream very soon here. We're gonna make some like late lunch, and then I'm gonna start up the stream, and I'll see you very soon. Have a great night, guys. Peace.